Before you begin to sew on your quilt tie, make sure that you check that your machine is working properly. Take a piece of scrap fabric, put it in your machine, lower the presser foot, and sew. This is a good time also for you to practice your back stitching. Lift up on the foot pedal, hold the reverse button, and then press your foot pedal. Your fabric will then come towards you instead of away from you. Let go of the reverse button, and the fabric will continue to feed away from you again. Look at your threads. It looks even on one side. It looks even on the other side. This machine works properly, and I'm ready to sew my project. To sew your quilt tie, start with the short end first. Make sure you look at where the fold is at and where your fabric comes together. You will want to start sewing on the side where the fabric comes together. Don't forget that you need a 5/8 inch seam allowance. Lower your presser foot. Sew 3 to 5 stitches forward. Stop. Hold down the reverse button and make sure you reverse all the way off the fabric. Then let go of your reverse button. Then sew to the end, ensuring you're looking at the guide so that you're keeping an even stitch. When you get near the end of your fabric, stop again, hold down the reverse button for 3 to 5 stitches. Then let go and finish sewing off of your fabric. Make sure that you cut the thread, leaving a tail on the machine. Also, cut the thread on the other side. And you have one sewn side of your quilt tie. It's now time to sew your long side. If you look at the back, you'll see some knotting up. This is fine and normal as long as the stitches are even. Place your fabric in the machine with your open sides on the right and on the 5/8 inch seam allowance. Ensure not to sew over your pins by removing them before you get to them. Again, sew 3 to 5 stitches. Make sure you sew past your short line of stitching. Hold the reverse button, back up across that line of stitching, and then move forward. Only go as fast as you feel comfortable going, ensuring that your fabric stays even with itself and that it stays on the 5/8 inch seam allowance as we sew. When you get to a pin, take it out. As you get to the end of your long line of stitches, don't forget you need to back stitch one more time to secure that stitch. Go to the end of the fabric, hold your reverse button, 3 to 5 stitches, and then go forward off your fabric. Lift up your presser foot, pull the fabric out, leave a tail on the machine, and now you have a line of stitches. If you've kept your fabric against the thread guide the entire time, you will have an even line of stitches. Please double check that there are no holes or gaps or skips in your thread, because if that happens, then you could have your crystals fall out on you. If you see right here, you'll see where we have made a X with our 2 lines of stitches from the short end and the long end. Now we're ready to move on to the next step. The next step is to trim your corners off. You don't want to go through your line of stitches. Anything on this side is your chill tie. Anything on this side is in your seam allowance and no one will see. I'm going to cut this corner off to get rid of the extra fabric that's going to end up inside the chill tie. I'm going to cut to this intersection but not through it. I'm also going to take this extra fabric off on this corner without cutting through this line of stitching. Now, as you can see, our stitches are still solid. Now it's time to flip our chill tie right side out. To turn your chill tie, you will need a tool to help you turn. Traditionally, there are turning tools that look like wooden dowels or sticks that help with the turning process. Unfortunately, we don't have them here in our classroom, so we're going to use a seam ripper with the cover on. The cover on allows for protection so we don't accidentally poke a hole in our chill tie. The first step is to take the end that we cut the extra fabric off of. Then we need to take it and we need to create a little pocket. We're going to grab the fabric, separate it out, and push the sewn end down inside, creating a pocket. Then you're going to take your seam ripper with the cover on the top and you're going to put it inside that pocket. As you shove it into the pocket, it will push the fabric down. As you help the seam ripper through the chill tie, be mindful of where it's bunching. The tip of my seam ripper is right here, and I'm pushing the fabric until I can grab the end of it. Then I'm making sure that this bunched up end becomes unbunched on the other side. Now that we have all the unbunching off of my seam ripper, I'm going to again hold the bottom with my one hand and bunch up some of the chill tie with my other hand. Until the seam ripper goes all the way through your chill tie. Then you can pull it and it's now turned. Now make sure while you have the seam ripper in the end that you poke out these corners. See how sharp they look? You want nice sharp corners. Make sure that you shake down that seam ripper and get it out of your chill tie. Now we can return this back to the storage. Now we have a turned chill tie with the right side of the fabric on the outside where we want it. The next step to making your chill tie is to fold it into thirds. Uh-oh, that's not thirds. what we want to do is make the letter N. And make it as even as we can. Uh-oh, that's not even. So we're going to move that up a little bit. Take that fold and adjust it until they're even. Now, at the fold, here's my open side, here's a fold. I want to ensure that I pin that fold to mark it as a fold. This side over here, with my closed end sewn shut, I have a fold. Now, do these folds have to be exact? No, they do not, but they need to be relatively close. Now, you need to find the open end. With the open end found, you need to follow along. Here's my first pin. I want the second pin. Here's my second pin. And here's the side that's closed. At this pin, next to your closed sewn end, you want to ensure that the seam is at the top and you can do this by ironing the spot. You want to make sure that the fabric doesn't dip too far in. You want it right up at the top with no dips. And pin to mark that spot. While we're at it, let's do that to this spot as well. I'm going to take the pin out, take the seam, and make sure that the fabric is going straight down and pin it again to mark it. Now, we're going to sew across at this point, which is the point closest to the closed sewn end. Here is our closed sewn end. We're going to follow along and find our pin that marks one of our folded spots. We're going to take that, remove the pin so we don't sew it, and place it in the machine. We're going to sew across the whole width 3 times. You can do it whichever way you would like. 1, 2, can reverse it. 2, and then forward again for 3. Or you can sew across it the same direction 3 times. Make sure you sew completely off your fabric, lift up your presser foot, and then cut off the thread, leaving a tail on the machine. Now you're ready for crystals. When it comes to putting your crystals in your chill tie, you need to remember that a little bit goes a long way. Take the open end of your chill tie, place the funnel in the hole as far down as you can get it. The crystals we use are soil moist. I get mine on Amazon. You need to put 1 to 2 teaspoons of soil moist. I have a teaspoon measurement. I'm going to do 1 heaping teaspoon. In the funnel. Now, shake the crystals all the way down until they get past your first mark. You might want to remove the pin you put in to mark it. Mark it with your finger to ensure that all the crystals get past that. And then put it back in. To keep it marked. Now, the crystals are down here. There's only about that many crystals in it, but that's all you really need when you soak it. Now it's time to close these crystals inside your chill ties so they don't fall out. Back at our sewing machine, I have the open end and I'm down to the pinned area. I'm going to sew that one shut now to keep the chill tie crystals inside the chill tie. Again, we're going to sew across this one a minimum of 3 times. 1, 2, 3. You want them to be right on top of each other. Now you could have sewn across, then reversed on top of your stitches and sewn back across it for your 3 like I did with the first one. But I wanted to show you the other way on this section. Take it out of the machine, trim the thread off, leaving a tail on the machine. Now the last step is to close this end so it looks professional. What you'll want to do is take your raw edge here and tuck it to the inside. I have tucked in all of the white to the inside. Now I'm going to sew this shut. I'm going to take the side that's sewn with the seam and put it on the bottom. There's a lot of fabric right here, and I'm putting the edge of my fabric to the edge of the presser foot. I'm going to sew across 3, 4, 5 stitches, 3 to 5 stitches. Hold the reverse button, go off my fabric, go forward, very slowly. Because of the layers of fabric right here where the seam is at, you can increase your chance of breaking your needle. So you want to go nice and slow. I'm right near the end, so I'm going to press the reverse button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let go. And now I'm sewing completely off my fabric. Trim the thread off. Trim the thread off the other side. Now you have a completed chill tie with crystals in the center portion of your project.